So one of the biggest mistakes that any creator can make is having bad lighting. But how do we fix it and make it more cinematic? Well, it's actually pretty simple. So the first thing we have to do is assess our environment and figure out what light we can control, but also what light we cannot control. For example, I have a practical light here in the back that I can turn on and off. I've also got 2 lights here as well that are lighting me up. However though, there are some things that are out of my control. For example, I have a window here to this side of me. Now while I do have some blinds on it, they're not necessarily the best, so sometimes some light is actually slipping through. So let's talk about the most common mistake that people make when they first start creating content, and that is by using an overhead light. It's basically, you know, the little light up in your room, in your house, flip the light switch on. Yeah, you don't want to use that, it's not very good. Okay, so how do we start fixing this? Well, first thing first is you have to go ahead and remove unwanted light. So yeah, that means we're gonna go to our light switch, turn that light off. And if you have a window in your room, go ahead and use the blinds in order to go ahead and remove the light that's coming into the room from outside. So let's go ahead and get started with just one light source. And if you don't own any lights, I highly recommend the LumeCube Studio Panel Lighting Kit. It's a kit that comes with 2 lights and some other accessories. Really incredible piece of hardware, and only for $349. However though, I can get you a discount. Just check the description down below for my code. Use that at checkout to go ahead and get a cheaper price. Okay, so the trick is to place your light at a 45-degree angle. Well, actually, you know what? I am super visual. Let me just go ahead and draw this out for you. I find that drawing just always makes things easier to understand. So this right here is where you're sitting. Right in front of you is going to be your camera. Now this spot right here is where you want to go ahead and place your light. We're actually gonna go ahead and refer to it as your key light. Your key light is always going to be your brightest source of light within your scene. Oh, and by the way, just so you know, you always want your camera to be at eye level, but you want your lights to be slightly higher than your camera to give you the best results. And one last thing, just because your light can go to 100% power doesn't mean that it needs to be at 100%. Find something reasonable that works for you, your environment, but ultimately makes you look good. So this is what it looks like with just one light source. Doesn't look too bad, right? Like, this is actually something that we can work with and use for content, but we can make it better. So let's go ahead and do it. So earlier I recommended the LumeCube Studio Panel Lighting Kit because it comes with multiple lights. We're gonna go ahead and use that second light now. And we're actually gonna go ahead and place it on the opposite end of where our key light is at. This is gonna be called our fill light. So why is it called a fill light? Well, a fill light is intended to go ahead and illuminate certain parts of your subject that your key light cannot reach. For example, you're seeing it right now, you see all of these shadows, right? Well, let me go ahead and show you what it looks like with that fill light. Oh, and it comes with this cool little remote too. Check this out. Oh, use the remote to turn on the light. How awesome is that? But you see what happened to these shadows? They just went ahead and basically not completely disappeared. It became a lot softer and it looks a lot better. So again, this is with the fill light. This is before. Now the way you want this to work is that you want your fill light to be about 50 to 75% less powerful than your actual key light. You don't want those two things competing. These panels make it super easy. I generally keep it anywhere from 5 to 10%. Now, if you do want to get a little fancy with it, you can always end up adding a third light. It's gonna go in the back, so all the light's gonna be casted on your back, but it's basically gonna help you stand out from the background. So this is what it looks like with the third light added in the back. And it's totally not necessary, but it does make your videos look just that little bit better. Our lighting is now looking really good, and we're just gonna go ahead and add just this tiny amount of extra spice to it to make it look better. And we're gonna do that by using those practical lights that you saw earlier in the video. Again, these are lights that we have full control of, so use them to your advantage. For example, you might have noticed that third light I added, it's a warmer tone that's being casted down on me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this desk lamp, which is made by LumeCube, to go ahead and be used as a practical light. So to kind of give this illusion that the desk lamp is lighting me up, when in reality it's not, but that's what it's gonna look like. All right, bam, that is what it looks like with the practical light on. Definitely adds that little bit of spice that we need. You know what, I got one more lamp here, let's go ahead and turn that bad boy on too. There we go. If you haven't noticed, I really like a warm tone for a background. Just kind of is very welcoming and inviting.